Hey, I'm Fehrplay, and I have recently made a 10 kick pack for audio tent. And today I'm going to show you how I make a kick drum from scratch. So let's get to it. So I start off either with my kick Lancet from Vermona, which is a kick synthesizer analog, which is really amazing, or with my MFB Tanspar, which is a drum machine. And it has two kick drum generators. One is more like an 808 sounding drum, and the other one is more like a 909, but with a lot more character and sounds a lot cooler, I think. So over the years, I have sampled a lot of the kicks I made with these machines, so I don't use them from scratch that much anymore. I would say maybe 50-50, but I'm still surprised how unique they sound for each track that I'm working with, because you can sculpt each kick perfectly to the track you're working with. Anyway, let me show you how I make a layered kick drum with the kick Lancet from Vermona. So I will in Logic sequence the kick Lancet in via MIDI, and you can see here like that. And I will play it together with I will sculpt it together with a sub bass. This is basically because it's nice to have a reference sound, a bass line to kind of just keep the kick drum in check a little bit. So let's see how that sounds. It's a kick drum in the key of F, so it's a perfect sub frequency range, I think. Sounds like this. Yeah, so that's obviously not in key at all. So yeah, I've added a tuner to the kick Lancet just to make sure that it's in the right key, as good as possible. And obviously right now it's nowhere near it, so you want to try and tune the key correctly. So then I'll try and get the kick to sit with the bass line. I usually don't use all the parameters. I use mostly the decay, pitch, bend, time, and the attack. The other parameters are more for extra harmonics and stuff, and I like to have my kick be fairly clean to begin with. So, as you can probably hear, there's a bit of a tone, like a resonance, resonant frequency in the kick Lancet that we're going to try and carve out, because it doesn't really sound nice, and I think it's not in an F anyway. So let's just see if we can find it. Yeah, right about there. Yeah, that sounds much better. I also usually take out the sub frequencies, the very, very low end. So you can see here, there's these little ones here that you don't really need, and it usually makes the kick sound a little bit more punchy. So let's see how it sounds. Yeah, that sounds good. Now also, depending on what the attack setting is on the Lancet, and whether we are layering the kick, which we are today. I would add some top end, but we don't need that today. But let's hear how that sounds like if we were to do that. Yeah, but for now we'll turn that off. Now for top kicks, I can use anything from a hi-hat to a tom to a different kick. I've also used stuff like lasers and stuff to just give it a bit of a strange character that still fits with the low end and gives it a personality, because you know the kick drum is such a big part of the personality of your track, so it's important to get the kick drum sitting good and sounding interesting from the get-go, you know. So in this case we are using an old kick top that I've used before for my track Reach and a few other tracks, I think, and it sounds like this. Oh, I'm going to turn off the sub bass now. Yeah, so it has a lot of low end, so what we want to try and do is play it together with the low end and then filter out the parts we don't need while still containing the top that we like. Yeah, that sounds nice. I think you can also go a little bit higher, but it can make the sound of the kick a little bit hollow, so I want to be careful not taking out too much of the mid. But sometimes that can be nice to make room for a bass line and other instruments, but you want to do that afterwards, I think. Yeah, that sounds nice. Now usually the low end kick can also have a lot of information in the top end, so you want to go in and carve that out. Today there's not a lot of information there and it sounds kind of good already, but let's give it a try. Yeah, I think I like that more. Yeah, I think either way could work, but for a little bit cleaner kick today, I think we'll go with this. So now that they're kind of sculpted together with EQ, I want to bust them together so I can add some compression and tape saturation. Usually I would just do that on the drum bus and it would affect the kick regardless, but since we're just working with the kick drum today, I'll just use it straight on these two elements together. And I'm going to start with adding my SSL bus compressor, which I have in front of me here on the desk. Let's see. So I usually start by setting the settings to extreme first to kind of just feel and hear better how it behaves on the signal, and then I reduce it back to the amount that I need. But on kick drums I usually just go with the slow attack and fast release anyway. Sounds good, but I still want to add some more texture to it. You know, the less elements you have in the track playing, let's say you have a kick and just a bass line or whatever, or the kick just playing by itself in the intro, the more kind of character you have to the kick drum, the more interesting it will sound just playing by itself. So I'm going to add my tape machine, which is a Revox B77. And I'm going to drive the tape machine with a gain plugin before it goes, the kick goes out from Logic to the tape machine. This way I don't have to touch the actual tape machine, and I can have this as a recall per se in every project that I work on. So let's see how it sounds like. And already you can hear the added textures and the kick becoming stereo, which is sometimes nice. Sometimes you want to cut out the low side information afterwards, but right now it sounds really nice, I think. So, but I kind of want to drive it less, I think. We can also try driving it more to see how that sounds. Now that's a nice sound. I think it's almost breaking up a little bit, but it's breaking up in a nice organic way, which I really like. But today we're going to have a little bit of a cleaner kick, so we'll dial it back. Gotta find this sweet spot here. Yeah, I think around here sounds nice. Now before bouncing, you know, it's maybe wise to add an EQ and take away some unwanted frequencies. But the thing is, you can always do that later. Now that you have the kick, so you can do it specifically for the track you're working on. But I like to have the kick sounding as good as possible by itself, and then just kind of mix everything around the kick drum. But let's see how it looks like now. Yeah, it looks very nice. You see it has a nice slope here, which is, you know, if you want to look at a kick drum, this is kind of how it's supposed to look like, I think, if it sounds good, like a nice kind of slopey curve here. So yeah, we're not going to do any EQing on this. We're just going to record it down. So what we do then is put it here where you have one kick, just playing, and then record it down real time. And then it's done. So that to me is a good characterful kick drum that doesn't sound too digital, but still has a punchiness that fits well in the modern day club music. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that, and don't forget to pick up my 10 kick drums for Audio Tent. Thanks.